Hey guys, welcome back to Fort Tarkin Gaming. So today we're going to discuss Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So we put out videos like this every single week, so make sure you subscribe and click the like button if you enjoy this, and let us know what you think down in the comments below. Now on to the video.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance is a co-op brawler with a Diablo-esque control scheme, and it has about every single Marvel character you can think of.
So first off, we'd like to talk about the positives. I liked the number of characters. There was over 30 playable characters.
They were all really fun and they all had their own unique abilities.
Yeah, each one feel different from the other one. Ghost Rider and Venom were probably my two mains, and I know you played Wanda and the Wasp. Yeah, each one felt just like you would expect them to feel like. I never felt like I really had too much hard time aiming. I focused on melee. I never really had hard times, and you did ranged. Wasn't an issue there.
Yeah, it was really nice because the ranged characters' abilities locked onto the enemies really well, and so it felt satisfying to use their abilities and to be a far-ranged character.
Pretty much every Marvel location that I could think of you went to for the most part. I mean, obviously not every single one, but just to name a few, they had like Wakanda, the Raft, Dark Dimension, Hell, as in the Asgard Hell, and then also Asgard.
Each place you went to, they had their own unique style, look. There is no like copy and paste from one location to the other.
Yeah, for sure. No, they weren't reusing assets in that way for sure. And the story was serviceable. It was cheesy.
It was really predictable, but enjoyable.
Yeah, and it carried along, and give you an excuse to see the Kingpin, and then you'd go off and fight Ulysses Claw, and just be all crazy, and it was awesome.
Kind of brought back the pastime of watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, for sure. And every character sounded like they were supposed to. A lot of the voice actors I could tell were, the Deadpool voice actor is the same guy as he was in the other video games, and Wolverine. I felt like I recognized them. They all felt like they should, or sounded like they should.
They all had the attitude they should have. Iron Man's voice actor surprisingly did a really good job. I thought, how could anybody mimic Tony Stark the way Robert Downey Jr. does? But he did a good job.
Yeah, and in one thing I appreciated, I'm sure if you played through each character in every single mission, you would get a lot of good jokes. Like I heard Daredevil in, like, we were going down this hallway sequences, and he's like, "Oh, hallways! I do my best fighting in hallways," referencing the the Netflix shows. We've got all these hallway fights, and the bosses all felt different.
Just the same as the character roster, we had multiple bosses. They all, they were all unique. They all had abilities tailored to their character and their mindset as a character from the comics. And it was fun to fight them all. They all brought new challenges and difficulties.
There's a different way to take each one down, different attack patterns.
They also used Infinity Stones. Obviously, Infinity Stones are in the game. And they used the Infinity Stones, and each Infinity Stone had different attacks and would mess with you.
The Mind Stone, if you got caught in the Mind Stone attack, your controls would go inverted. Or if you got, if they used the Time Stone, if a certain boss had the Time Stone, it would freeze, and you could see him moving when you couldn't for a minute. And then, and I don't feel like it was unfair for the most part when they used them. Progression.
I felt like it was way deep. If you are planning to play this with like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old kid, it might be a little confusing for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. You've got your ISO-8 crystals that were introduced later in the game. You had each character has different abilities, and you could level up each of those abilities. You had the Alliance Enhancement attribute tree. Is what the best way to describe it is, an attribute tree, because you could go through and you'd get all sorts. There's so many different currencies in the game. It was kind of hard to keep track of, but
Yeah, it was hard to keep track of, and it was also hard to understand how to earn each individual currency in the game.
the attribute tree, you would go and you level up your health, your strength, your resilience, and energy, things like that. And then you had your cosmic cubes. You'd get them from Infinity Trials. You can go back and play the little section of the level, and if you complete it in a certain amount of time, you could get cosmic cubes or other things to level up your characters. They're just basically like a XP booster, so there's different levels of cosmic cubes. You could get huge ones that would level them up like 4 or 5 times, or ones that would just like, do a half a level or something like that.
Yeah, so if you got stuck in the game, it was really useful to go back and play a couple of these Infinity Trials, get some of these Cosmic Cubes, and level up all of your characters so that way they would be ready for the next fight or the fight that you're stuck in. We did have some negative things that we want to talk about. We'll start off with the characters. We were very disappointed that there was no Fantastic Four. Just such a classic Marvel team, and for a team play game like this, why wouldn't you have them in it?
That does seem like a huge missed opportunity. Marvel's first family. Yeah, I mean, they've been in past ones, so they are going to come as DLC, but it's just like, I feel like those ones should have been there at launch. There was X-Men characters that were in the story, like Beast and Cyclops, but you couldn't play as them, which I felt like was a huge missed opportunity, and it sounds like they're going to come as DLC as well. And then you saw Winter Soldier in the story, but he wasn't playable either. He's a big player in the MCU. Why wouldn't you have the Winter Soldier? Biggest character that they added that I was like, why would you put the time in to add this character in and not Winter Soldier, Beast, or Cyclops, was Elsa Bloodstone. I have never heard of her, and I've never heard anybody talk about her. I'm reasonably versed in Marvel characters.
I'm sure somebody loves her out there, but we've never ever heard of her until this game.
The couch co-op's camera. Oh my goodness.
It was a disaster, in my opinion. They could have done so much better with the camera.
Yeah, so we actually played through couch co-op the whole way, and the highest difficulty that you could when you first start the game. For the most part, obviously we were able to beat the game, but there were moments that it was so bad. Couldn't separate too far from each other, and it was kind of frustrating because I was mostly melee and she was mostly ranged. She's trying to stay back because she doesn't have very much health and poke them off from range or from distance, and I'm trying to get up there and whack them. And we couldn't do both.
We got a little frustrated with each other, to be honest, but more frustrated with the game than anything because we understand that it was the game. We couldn't do what we wanted without the camera freaking out or just stopping. Like, it would just stop and not move anymore. It was really frustrating.
If you have the opportunity to play this on multiple switches, I definitely would. But I would definitely not let a bunch of little kids play this with couch co-op because they will murder each other.
Not to mention that poor Switch would be destroyed at the end of the game.
Oh yeah, your Joy-Cons are dead.
Because of the cameras, it was sometimes hard to see the fight. There was like one time where we were fighting a boss and a wall got in our way because the camera was not cooperating with where we wanted it to go. We couldn't see a thing. We didn't know what was going on and we were getting our butts kicked.
Then attacks, like sometimes you get stuck in attacks.
Especially with enemies, they would hit you and you would try and, you're getting damage and you can see it. And so you try to roll out of it or jump out of it and you were just stuck in the attack. They would be able to hit you over and over and over and over again without you being able to get out. But when you did the same to them, they were able to get out of your attack super easy. So it felt a little unfair.
And there were certain ways to mitigate that. Like I got a crystal with Ghost Rider that make it so my abilities wouldn't get interrupted as much. But those were our gripes. For the most part, I would recommend this game, especially if you have multiple switches. And if you're a Marvel fan, if you like the MCU, I would definitely recommend this game.
In the end, we had so much fun. We played it all weekend this weekend, and it was a blast. We were talking about how much fun it was. There's just a little bit of things that it could use some work on.
And we put about 15 to 20 hours into it. I enjoyed all of it for the most part, except for fighting with the camera sometimes. That was... They just made a fixed camera angle, Diablo style. It would have been way better. Those are our thoughts and opinions on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. If you played the game or if you haven't, let us know what you think down in the comments below.
Or what you want to know about it.
And don't forget to leave a like. And remember, all is as the Force wills it.
Pay for your sins. You cannot win without us.
Let me in on that action.
Such disrespect. Bow to me, dogs.